Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Lamb. Here's a preview of some of today's top stories. Family, friends, and colleagues shared their fondest memories of the late officer. Starbucks plans to close a few of its San Francisco-based stores, but the coffee chain didn't spill the beans on reasons for the decision. A Southern California county sues a utility company for 2 wildfires. The county alleges that an electric failure sparked the massive blazes. One Los Angeles County deputy is being remembered today after he was ambushed and killed. NTD's Christina Corona has more from downtown Los Angeles.
We're here in Los Angeles where funeral services are being held for LA County Sheriff Deputy killed in the line of duty on September 16th, 30-year-old Ryan Clinkunbroomer. Clinkunbroomer tragically lost his life outside the Palmdale Sheriff's Station last month, where he was fatally shot by a gunman who approached his vehicle and opened fire, ending the career of the dedicated 8-year veteran of the Sheriff's Department. Funeral services were held at 9:30 a.m. at the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels Tuesday. Numerous law enforcement agencies and personnel, along with friends and family, offered their heartfelt words and shared their condolences as a way to pay their respects to Clinkunbroomer.
Ryan was everything we look for in a deputy sheriff. Integrity, a passion to serve, high emotional intelligence, and a heart of a guardian, and yes, when needed, an absolute warrior. His actions were smooth and deliberate. He treated everyone he encountered fairly, no matter what the situation was, while being known as one of the hardest working deputies at the Palmdale station. Katie and Chad, we are sorry that your big brother was taken from you. Brittany, our hearts are absolutely shattered that your dreams of a life together with Ryan were stolen. Kim and Mike, we will never forget Ryan's sacrifice. This should never have happened.
Clink was one of the first people I'd call whenever I got stuck or needed guidance on a call, and he was always there for me. He was a role model to me as a young deputy and also as a person because of how he carried himself out.
I think I spent more hours with Clink than I have with my own family. I spent many coffee dates, dinner dates, whether it's, at Sharky's, the station patio, or on the top of our radio car hood. I miss him very dearly.
Clinkunbroomer was a third-generation deputy who was only recently engaged to be married.
On behalf of all of us, we thank you for attending Ryan's service this morning. Our entire family, including Brittany and her family, truly appreciate your thoughts, prayers, and all of your acts of kindness. For 30 short years, we were blessed to have Ryan enlighten and enrich our lives. Today, we bid farewell to our firstborn son, Ryan, a brother, a friend, a grandson, a partner, and a fiancé to Brittany. We're not saying goodbye, Ryan, but we're saying thank you. Thank you, Ryan, for your love of life. Ryan Michael, your entire family loves you. Your mother and I will always miss you. I'll see you one day in heaven. You're my hero.
Like every little girl, I dreamed about meeting the perfect guy, getting married and starting a family. Unfortunately, I won't be able to check all those boxes off. But I'm so grateful I was able to meet the perfect guy. I'm not supposed to be up here talking to you all. I should be up here with Ryan holding hands as we prepare to say our vows. I don't know how I'm going to get by without you here, but I promise I'll be strong for you. I love you with my whole heart, and I miss you more than anybody will know. I'm heartbroken that our future got cut short. I know you would have been an amazing husband and father.
Thousands were in attendance at the services today, including law enforcement and personnel from local, state, and federal agencies. A private ceremony was held after the Mass. Christina Corona, NTD News, Los Angeles.
More business closings announced for San Francisco. Starbucks will be shutting doors on 7 locations. NTD's Jason Blair has more on this announcement.
While some companies have cited crime and safety concerns, Starbucks has not named any specific reasons for its planned store closures in San Francisco. Most of the locations are downtown and in the financial district. All 7 are set to close October 22nd. A Starbucks spokesperson told Cron 4, quote, "Each year as a standard course of business, we evaluate the store portfolio to determine where we can best meet our community and customers' needs. This includes opening new locations, identifying stores in need of investment or renovation, exploring locations where an alternative format is needed, and in some instances, re-evaluating our footprint." The coffee chain also opened 3 new stores over the past 6 months in the city and is currently renovating 4. Recently, retail giant Target also announced 3 closures in the San Francisco area for October 21st, citing rampant theft. Earlier this year, Whole Foods, Nordstrom, Anthropologie, Westfield, and other companies closed locations in the city. NTD reached out to Starbucks for comment. Reporting in San Francisco, Jason Blair, NTD News.
A Southern California county filed lawsuits alleging a major power company's negligence caused 2 wildfires in the last 3 years. The blazes burned thousands of acres and prompted the evacuation of tens of thousands of people.
Orange County, which is home to more than 3 million people between Los Angeles and San Diego, filed a pair of lawsuits against Southern California Edison. It alleges the company's equipment played a role in wildfires between 2020 and 2022. The county said in the lawsuit that it believes Edison failed to maintain its facilities, adding that they believe the 2022 coastal fire was caused by an electrical failure on a utility pole that supported a distribution line. In a statement, Supervisor Katrina Foley said, "We demand that the utilities responsible for the destruction of county assets, increased expenses, reduced revenues, and environmental damages reimburse the county." In a separate lawsuit, the county said the 2020 Silverado fire may have been sparked when a telecommunications wire had contact with an electric conductor. The county also named T-Mobile in that suit. Last year, the utility told state regulators unspecified electrical circuit activity happened at about the time that the coastal fire erupted. The company also previously reported the possible contact with the lashing wire in the Silverado fire. In a statement to NTD, a spokesperson for the utility company said, "Our thoughts are with the communities who are impacted by the Silverado and coastal fires." Southern California Edison cooperated with Orange County Fire Authority in their investigations. "It wouldn't be appropriate for us to comment outside of the legal process on the specifics of ongoing legal action." In Northern California, Pacific Gas and Electric will face a trial for manslaughter over its role in the Zog fire in 2020, which killed 4 people. The company, which is the nation's largest utility, pleaded not guilty.
Disturbing cases of child abuse unveiled. An Orange County nanny faces a potential life sentence for sexually abusing 16 young boys. And a county spokesperson's dark secret is exposed by San Bernardino police. NTD's Stephanie Sokol reports.
Faces we know, hearts we don't know. In this case, it applies as 2 men who seem to have inspired trust and care for their communities face now charges against them for sexual abuse and child pornography. Matthew Antonio Sarkisiski, a 34-year-old nanny from Orange County, has been convicted for sexually abusing 16 young boys aged 2 to 12 and exposing explicit content to another boy under his care. These crimes occurred between January 1st, 2014 and May 17, 2019, with Sarkisiski even recording some of the assaults. A Laguna Beach couple initially reported the abuse in May 2019, having hired Sarkisiski through one of his babysitting websites. Sarkisiski presented himself as the original sitter buddy on his website, offering various childcare services including mentoring and overnight babysitting. Sarkisiski now faces a potential life sentence in prison. Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer praised the courage of the young victims and their parents for testifying against Sarkisiski, emphasizing the importance of their voice in protecting other children. Sarkisiski was charged with 34 felony counts, including lewd acts with minors and child pornography possession. In a separate case, Stephen Frasher, a 62-year-old spokesperson from the Los Angeles County, was arrested in San Bernardino County on charges of producing, possessing, and distributing child pornography. Detectives received a tip about Frasher downloading and storing child pornography online. Frasher, listed as a public information officer on the county's website, and previously worked for the City of Riverside and the Glendale Unified School District. An ongoing investigation will include forensic examination of his electronic devices. Frasher was booked into the San Bernardino County Central Detention Center with a bail set at $30,000. The Los Angeles County Department of Public Works confirmed Frasher's employment but refrained from discussing personnel matters. Authorities encourage anyone with information related to this incident to contact Detective Walton of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force at 909-384-5644. Remaining vigilant can prevent harm from your children. Identifying and reporting suspicious behavior to law enforcement is essential in apprehending those who pose a threat to children. Stephanie SoCal, NTD News, Los Angeles.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come right back. Beekeepers could soon get a helping hand with smart tech. A startup company created sensors that track live data to help monitor beehives. The largest dam removal is underway in Northern California. But removing the dam isn't the hard part. What does a bathtub have to do with a boulder? A Southern California man has the answer to this question after turning a massive rock into a bathtub. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today, everybody. I'm your host, David Lamb. Honeybees around the world are dying off in large numbers, a phenomenon that could have ripple effects on the food supply chain and the entire ecosystem. A California and Israeli tech startup is hoping to help beekeepers maintain their bee colonies with a smart touch.
Beekeeping is an age-old occupation that relies on tried and tested techniques and the expertise of the beekeeper for success. Dorit Avni has been beekeeping for 30 years. She's now part of Bee Hero, a Tel Aviv and California-based company that uses sensors and real-time data analysis to track the health of their hives.
We just had to go and manually open every individual hive, look for a queen, look for the brood, see that everything is okay. Same for beekeepers, and now you can just get an app and you get all the information on the app.
Bee Hero uses sensors inside the hive to analyze the colony's health, which it then transmits to the cloud and to the beekeeper, giving them real-time insights that could help save a struggling community of bees.
With our technology, we can see very early if something is wrong in the colony. So, for example, in case of a pesticide or a case of queen loss or any other problem that the colony has, the beekeeper can come and do something very quickly. Otherwise, they can come 3, 4, 5 weeks too late.
The company says it has sensors in operation in more than 250,000 beehives on 5 continents.
So the sensor located in the center of the hive, and his main purpose is to say what is the current situation inside the hive. Basically, he translates the communication between the bees to language that the beekeepers can understand. If you like, this is exactly what Google Translate do between 2 languages. So we translate bee language to human language, and then we provide the insights for the beekeeper to take an action in the right time, in the right place, with the minimum interference for the bees.
The sensors inside the hives measure temperature, humidity, and sound. Those metrics are then transmitted to the cloud through a gateway lodged outside a group of 4 hives. The beekeeper gets this information directly to their phone or computer and through artificial intelligence and machine learning. They receive an outline of the state of the hives and are flashed with alerts if there is a problem. According to Regev, bees contribute over $200 billion to the global economy from the crops that they pollinate.
Now, let's meet an emergency prepper who grows enough fruit and vegetables to last a year. The Southern California mom says it's a part of her emergency survival kits, but also a way to teach her kids valuable life lessons.
Karina Sanchez is a homesteader and prepper from Long Beach. She, her husband Jason, and their 3 children grow 80% of the food they consume on their quarter-acre of land. She began prepping during the lockdowns after it opened her eyes to becoming less reliant on supermarkets. Mrs. Sanchez says, prepping is the most liberating and satisfying thing, as it allows me to teach my children to be self-reliant and have the experience of growing their own food. There's something satisfying about growing something and eating it 6 to 18 months later. The family grows all their fruits and vegetables and recorded over 900 pounds of produce last year. This includes about 400 pounds of tomatoes, 300 avocados, squash, pumpkin, onions, garlic, cauliflowers, and Brussels sprouts. Mrs. Sanchez then preserves the produce through methods such as water bath canning, pressure canning, dehydrating, freeze drying, and vacuum sealing. She says her main reason for food prepping is to provide her kids with meals in college and teach them valuable skills. She adds, I feel like the things I'm making today for the future aren't necessarily for the kids' future, but it's teaching them the generational wealth that they can't buy. Mrs. Sanchez estimates that their current produce could last them between 8 to 12 months.
The largest dam removal project in U.S. history is underway along the California-Oregon border. It won't finish until the end of next year. Heavy machinery and explosives will help the project, but that is not the hard part.
One of the most challenging parts of tearing down the 4 dams on Klamath River is planting and monitoring nearly 17 billion seeds as they try to restore the Klamath River and the surrounding land. It's called the Klamath River Renewal Project and will consist of a partnership between workers and Native American tribes. They aim to restore the area to what it looked like before Pacific Corp built the dams starting in 1918.
These dams were built to produce hydroelectric power. They don't store water for municipal or agricultural uses, and they're not operated to provide any flood control benefits, simply to use the water to spin turbines to generate electricity. The electric company that previously owned the dams made a decision that they did not want to continue to operate them and entered into a settlement agreement in 2016 that resulted in the transfer of the facilities to the Renewal Corporation for purposes of removal.
Though the hydroelectric power produced by dams is considered a clean, renewable source of energy, many larger dams in the western U.S. have become a target for environmental groups and tribes because of the harm they cause to fish and river ecosystems. The dams halted the natural flow of the river and disrupted the life cycle of salmon, a fish that depends most of its life in the Pacific Ocean but returns to the chilly mountain streams to lay eggs. The fish are culturally and spiritually significant to a number of Native American tribes.
I mean, some of our people say we're here because those fish were here. You know, it helped us survive the ages.
When demolition is completed by the end of next year, more than 400 miles of river will be open for threatened species of fish and other wildlife.
To me and to our tribe, that's what justice looks like. You know, it's the return of our homelands.
The dam removals won't be a major hit to the power supply. They produce less than 2% of Pacific Corp's energy generation when they were running at full capacity, enough to power about 70,000 homes. The project will cost $500 million, paid for by taxpayers and Pacific Corp ratepayers. Crews already removed most of the smallest of the 4 dams. The other 3 are expected to come down next year. But the Siskiyou County Water Users Association has filed a federal lawsuit. The group formed about a decade ago to stop the dam removal project. So far, they have been unable to stop the demolitions. Biologists say it will take at least a generation for the river to fully recover. But within months of the dams being removed, salmon were already recolonizing sections of the river they had not accessed in more than a century.
While some people are removing dams with explosives, others are moving boulders by hand. A Southern California man recently discovered a massive boulder and turned it into a work of art.
James Laughlin was digging in a Southern California desert when he discovered a massive 25,000-pound boulder. The massive rock measured 7 feet long, 6 feet wide, and 5 feet high, and moving it was the first of many excruciating tasks. To solve this problem, he fashioned a sled for the boulder. He was then able to finesse the rock through twists and turns on his property in the direction of his house. After moving the rock, he thought himself that it would make a perfect bathtub, so he began the months-long process of shaping the rock. According to Laughlin, a stone this size requires work at every level imaginable. The work required everything from heavy equipment all the way down to polishing pads. He also had to constantly measure to maintain a proper wall thickness. When his new tub was complete, he installed drainage pipes that could send used water to nearby plants. According to Laughlin, the project cost almost as much as a small swimming pool. As for his first dip in the new tub, he described the experience as surreal.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcast at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Ganjing World, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Lam. Have a wonderful evening.